Good morning and g'day, mate. Welcome back to Dyson Sphere with me, Jetty, and of course the wonderful Mr. Icarus. And we're back on our RID system. So last episode we went and set up, another intergalactic billboard out on the Jimitar system, celebrating our ad-free 2022 goals, which, as we can see, are launching rockets non-stop, launching sales pretty religiously. And every single sale, as far as I can tell, is being instantly consumed, which is great. But today's episode, we're working on a brand new project, being more than half done on the rockets. And sales, 20% of the way there, 20% of the way there. And a gigawatt worth of power already. Excellent. Today's episode, we're back on the RID system, where we have already set up... Can I rotate that? Thank you. Okay, we've already set up blue science. We've set up red science twice. Once for early game, once for mid game. We've set up yellow science, once for early game, once for mid game. We've set up purple science, once for no, that's mid game. That's mid game. That's early game, and now the mid game is up and running because we had to go get creative spinniform and also fractal silicon. And now today we're on the other side of the planet where we're working on. Green science. Yeah. Okay, so green science. We're going to do the same as we've done previously, and I'm going to split the build into two. So what we're going to do is we are going to... it requires two components, okay? One being the graviton lenses, one being the quantum chips. So you are going to be quantum chips. Go away. You are going to be graviton lenses. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore the quantum chips entirely. We're not dealing with them this episode. We're just going to concentrate on the graviton lenses. Graviton lenses require diamonds. They also require strange matter. Oh, the other thing is we're going to make the whole build to do 4 gravity matrix per second. But I'm going to use tier 1 assemblers. So because we're using tier 1 assemblers with a production speed of 0.75, it means that if you want it to make 4 per second, all you have to do is swipe the upgrade planner over the whole lot to get assembly machine Mark 3s. The reason I'm doing Mark 1 over Mark 3 is basically power issues, okay? I really want to make blueprints that are available in the early game, in the mid game, that you can put down, and if you have the power to support them, running the faster assemblers with the proliferation juice, which is going to add another 70% energy consumption on top. There's a lot of assemblers, and it's much easier to run a lot of assemblers at 270 kilowatts plus 70% compared to 1.08 megawatts plus 70%, bringing them up to very close to 2 megawatts each. It adds up when this build is going to have about 40 assemblers in it, which doesn't sound like a lot until you add this with a couple of other builds, and yeah, the power list goes on. Okay, so as I was saying, two things we need to make. We are going to be building together the rare recipe version. There will be an accompanying blueprint, which I will show you when we get to it, of the whole thing from raw resources early for early game, but we're going to be building the mid game one together where we can use rare resources. So first thing we're going to do, diamonds kimberlite ore, done. Half the production line is done. Next one is strange matter. Strange matter comes from a miniature particle collider. It says miniature, but these things are massive. For miniature particle collider, we need to have a couple of things. We need to have deuterium, which we're going to get from fractionators. We need to have iron. We're going to ignore the iron for right now. Plus, we need to have particle containers. Particle containers are going to come from an assembler. Particle containers require that we have, we have two things. One is going to be a chemical plant. Chemical plant making graphene from fire ice. The other thing we're going to need is electromagnetic turbines. Electromagnetic turbines come from an assembler, which is that recipe. Electromagnetic turbines are going to require that we make 2 subcomponents. One is going to be the magnetic coils. The other one is going to be the electric motors. Electric motors are going to require 3 subcomponents. 2 subcomponents. The other one being iron. One of them being more magnetic coils, the other one being gears. So we need to build this production line, which is going to look something like this in the end, okay? But the first thing we need to do is we need to have some clear building space, like so. And the next thing I want to do is I want to work out where we are on a planet. So I want to build my south. Hang on. That direction. Okay. First thing I want to do is I want to find this tropic line up here, and I want to put a belt hard up against it, okay? This is where we're going to be running our proliferator build, okay? So I want to make sure I don't build past that. The other thing is it's already getting dark, so we're going to turn on the headlights, and we're going to start building from one end to the other. So first thing we want is gears, okay? I want gears to make the electric motors. So we need 5 gear machines. Gears. And those 5 gear machines are going to have to output up to here. And in there, we're going to need to proliferate it, because we're going to be proliferating everything. We're only using the Mark II proliferator, but it's something, okay? So that's going to be gears. Okay, gears are going to require that we have an iron belt in. So we're going to bring in an iron belt, which will mark right about here. Oh, and I used the wrong class of assembler. Like I said, we're building things with Assembler 1, and then we'll make the blueprint, so if you want to upgrade it, you can very easily. Now, the other important thing is I have opted to use Mark III belts and Mark III sorters. We're done with the Mark 1 and the Mark II stuff. I could probably do the whole lot with Mark II belt, but it would make my life a little bit more harder, and it's green science. And pretty much at the stage of green science, like Mark II belt requires turbines requires the green things, which is also required for Mark III sorters. So that's pretty easy. The Mark III belt, little bit more expensive, okay, requires supermagnetic rings and graphene, which not too hard, but not great either. So it's the compromise I've chosen to make. It means that I can not worry about which belt items are on, which is going to save us a lot of hassles. Because after we have our gears, we then need to make engines. And engines, I need 7 machines. So 5, 6, 7. And you guys are going to be engines. And engines are going to need to have an output belt going this way. Up to here so we can proliferate it, bring it back down to here, plus they need some of those magnetic coil things we were talking about. So we're going to mark this belt to be engines. We're going to mark you to have an output plus an input from the magnetic coil belt, plus you need an input of gears that have been proliferated and an input of iron. Okay, so that's your 3 requirements made with your output. That goes to there. We put another juice belt, another proliferator right there. Okay, so with that done, the next thing we need to make is going to... Oh, wrong assembler again. The next thing we need to make is going to be actually the green turbine things. And I need 5 machines. Now, because we're proliferating things, okay, we get a resource reduction every step along the way. Okay, which is going to be very, very important. It's going to make such a big difference as we work through this build, because you'll notice that at the end of the day, to make green science, I need to make, I want to make 4 science, so I actually need to have, every single time we do a green cube creation, we get 2 green cubes, and if I want to make 4 per second, it means in theory I'd need 2 graviton lenses. Because we get that 20% boost, I need 1.7. 1.7-ish, 1.8-ish, which will give me the what I need. It'll give me with the 20% extra bonus, it'll give me the 2 that I need to actually make 4 science. Okay, but it also applies on smaller things like this, like gears. I need 1 gear every 2 seconds. Gears take 1 second to make, so I would need a 1 to 2 ratio. Roughly, because we're proliferating things, I need a little bit more. No, hang on. I need 1 to 1 ratio. 1 to 1 ratio, right? Checking my maths. Oh no, I only need 3 of you guys. Wow, that saved me a couple of assemblers. Okay, so I need slightly less. So I would need 1 to 2. So if I have 8 here, I would need 4 here. Turns out, because of proliferation, we can actually cut that down. I need 1 less machine. Same with the electric motors, okay, where I need I need 7 and a bit, like 7 and a less than a quarter, 7.15. And therefore, when it gets to the green ones, I only need 4.5. But because of, rounding and everything else, we've got to build 8 and then we've got to build 5. It is what it is. But it does mean that these machines are going to have some downtime. When they have downtime, we're saving power. Okay, back to what we were saying. I need, for the green motors, we're going to need to have the electromagnetic turbines, plus the magnetic coils, plus an output. So that is going to be as easy as input from that magnetic coil belt, which still doesn't have a origin, but we'll work that out in a second. And you go there, and we're going to mark you as electromagnetic turbines. Okay, with that out of the way, we then need to make the coils. And the coils I need, I think it's 4. It's 3 and a bit. 3 a bit of the cheaper machines. Okay, 3 of those, which needs 2 inputs. It needs, actually that was one of them. I know, it needs an output first, which goes up to there, which we need to proliferate. Okay, let's change over the recipe so we don't get ourselves confused. Yeah. No. That's the output belt. Okay, try again. And then 4 of you. Okay, you guys are going to do that one. And you need 2 inputs. 1 being magnets. 2 being copper. Copper we need to use for something else still. So it should be as easy as, sure, that'll do. And output. And drag these guys along. And you're done. Now, we need to spray both these belts. We also need to mark these belts. This is going to be magnets, because the magnet belt stops right there. And you are going to be copper, because, like I said, the copper belt needs to continue on. We actually need copper for one of the next steps, being the particle containers. So, before we get to particle containers, they need one more thing, being the graphene. Graphene comes from chemical plants. And we need 4 chemical plants. And you guys are going to have to be doing the fire ice recipe, which means I need an input belt. That's not input. Well, it is input, but it's the wrong tile. An input belt for fire ice, plus an output belt for the waste hydrogen, plus an output belt for graphene, which we're just going to take to, I don't know, about there for a moment. Alright, and we can put one of you there. I'm going to mark this belt. Oh, wrong tile, that tile. Graphene. Okay, so, as again, we need to have an input fire ice, output hydrogen, output graphene, clicky, draggy, droppy, dunny. Okay, you were going to be fire ice, and you're going to be output for waste hydrogen. The waste hydrogen we do need later, but not right now. Okay, so next step along our grand list of assemblers is finally the particle containers. Particle containers being these ones. We're not going to use the rare recipe. I should say that up front. We're not going to use the rare recipe because the rare recipe requires unipolar magnets. We should talk about this really quickly. Unipolar magnets in the whole galaxy appear at 2 locations. One is a black hole, unipolar magnets. The other one is a neutron star, unipolar magnets. Every other star, you won't find unipolar magnets. So, you want to be really, 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 really careful about using them. Also, if you run out now, it does mean you can never, ever make plain smelters, which smelt at twice the speed and use 4 times the amount of power. So, something to keep in mind. So, we're not going to use that recipe. We are going to have the normal recipe. And honestly, look, savings-wise, it cuts out the graphene, which is not hard to make, and it cuts out the green motors, which is this production line here. Which is helpful, don't get me wrong, but not super helpful enough to use the rarest resource in the galaxy. Okay, back to these guys. We need 6 of these. 3, 6. Okay, and they're going to need graphene, which we already have on this belt. That's convenient. Plus, they're going to need copper, which is this belt here, because we chose to run it through after it ran through the magnetic... Oh, no, that is not the belt. It is that belt. That belt. Okay, And then it requires the green motors, which output to there. So that becomes our three belts. Plus, then we need you guys to output. Come up to here, go back a tile, down to there. We need to mark you to do those things, and then we need an input of our graphene, plus an input of our copper, plus our input of our turbines, and then an output to that far belt. And like I said, because I'm using the Mark III sorters, it doesn't matter how far, which belt's which, and how far the sorters have to move, because we sort of covered our bases by these guys move very fast and they have a cargo stacking of 6, which means they can grab up to 6 items out of this machine and dump all 6 items at once, which is great. Okay, so after, let's just recheck our graviton lens. After we get to the pink containers, I then need to make the strange matter. Now, strange matter requires iron and also deuterium. So iron is conveniently, if we just trim some belts, that. Iron is this belt, which I'm going to bring all the way down there to there and then up to there. Okay. Same time, I need to get deuterium, which is going to be a fresh belt in. We'll drag that to there. We will mark you, sir, to be deuterium. We'll dump you there. And then we will work on our next step, being our, what are they called? Miniature particle colliders. Yeah, the tiny little buildings called miniature particle colliders. Okay, so these are a bit of a demon, okay, because they are massive. And I actually need 9 of them. So we're going to have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I didn't quite make the build long enough. I thought it was a bit short. Okay, that goes to there. That goes to there. And that goes to there. Okay. Then, each one of these guys are going to need to have an output belt. Comes along the front. Comes up to here. Is sprayed right about there. Before looping and going this way. Okay, and we're going to mark you as strange matter. Okay, so you guys need to make strange matter. And what I'm going to do is we're going to go for an input. An input of the magnetic containers plus an input of the iron belt plus the input of the deuterium belt. And we'll copy you from there to there. And then I'm going to need you to output to the rear. You output to the middle. And then we go copy, there to there. Oh, it helps if I actually put in the output belt. That's the output, that's the output, and that's the output, if I can see it. Yep, okay. So, you get copied to there, you get copied to there, there to there, to there, to there, and to there. Okay. So that's our strange matter. Strange matter being one half the combination. The other half is diamonds. Before we do the diamond build, let's just throw in our assemblers for our end product, being the what is it called? Yeah, graviton lenses. And I need 6 machines. So we're going to bring along a belt right about here, which we're going to call diamonds. We're going to bring out a little belt here, making graviton lenses. That one and that one. I'm going to mark you with the diamonds. I'm going to mark you with graviton lenses. And it should be a... Oh, no, that's an out. An out. An in. And set you to that recipe. And done. So that's our build. Plus all the smelters. Okay, smelters. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to start top. And we're just going to run... That's going to be our output belt for iron. 1, 2, 3. That's our input belt for iron ore. Okay, and I want to have, as far as smelters are concerned, I want to have, for iron, I need 15 smelters, which is great, because that's divisible by 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. That's our smelter block. And just to save me the hassle, just in case, I'm going to give ourselves an extra tile. I don't know if I'm going to need that extra tile in the future, but I've learned after doing a couple of these builds that if I build things exactly lined up perfectly, I end up having to move everything over a tile later. Okay, so that's a non-belt. You are going to be iron ore. You are going to be smelting iron, please. We're going to have you input. Really? The collides? Okay, fine. Alright, I'll move it over to top. There to there. Okay. And we'll drag this out. Okay, gotta remember our iron goes into one spot. We can trim that off. Okay, next thing we needed is actually magnets. So, magnets, I need less smelters. I only need 12, well, 13. So, that one. Okay, and we're going to give you your output belt, which will come down here and slot into there. And we're going to have you do a sorter on that side and on that side. And we're going to change you to be that recipe. We'll have you go from there to there. That's magnets. Magnets are done. Okay. Next on our list is going to be copper ore. Because why not? 1, 2, 3. That's our tile. Which needs to tag straight into there. Okay, copper. We need even less smelters. We need... Let's line this up with everything else. I need 8 smelters. So that's 3, 6, 8 would be there. So we're going to cut that belt. Let's do it the other way around. Let's have this start at the right length and end one tile early. Helps if the belts are going the right direction. And again, we want output, input. We're going to set you to be copper. And 8. Done. Okay, so first things first. Let's get our sprayer in up here. And you are going to be copper ore. We're going to mark that just with sprayer for the moment. That's just to remind us that we have one extra tile reserved down the outside to run our spray. Okay, so currently our first tower would have potentially spray. So, well, it's going to have iron and copper. That's confirmed. Potentially spray. That's 3 items. Plus, I need warpers. That's 4 items. So I have 1 slot free on the first tower, which obviously would have to be Graphene, which I didn't proliferate. So let's put our proliferator here. Yeah, we can put it there. Okay. We have a hydrogen belt that we still need to deal with, and we need to mark you with fire ice, which has been proliferated at that end, so it doesn't need to be proliferated at this end. So that leaves us our 3 unknowns. We need somewhere to dump hydrogen, we need somewhere to making deuterium, and we also need to have diamonds, which are going to come from kimberlite ore. So we need to make potentially a crap ton of deuterium. In fact, I need, for the fractionators, I need 25 of these guys, in theory. We can cut that back with stacking, which is what we're going to be doing. But first off, I'm going to be coming in here and I'm going to be grabbing... Good question. Early game blueprints. Fractionator build, which we're going to put up here at the top of the planet because that's where I have to put it. And then we're going to go back into blueprint mode. And I'm going to copy... basically that. And I want your output to be over here. Yes. 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 I think I'm happy with that build. Okay, before that gets too far built, we're going to just come up here and just go goodbye. Cool. Alright, it still says I'm short on things. It's probably belts. So we'll just upgrade what belts are there, because we're on Mark 3 for everything now. At the same time, I do know I'm going to need some of them. Okay, so this is our deuterium build. Now, deuterium build is no longer at the top of the world, so we need to straighten out some of these belts. You are going to come this way and plug up a tile, because I still need to deal with that hydrogen belt, and plug you into there. Actually, we might plug you through a storage tank, because deuterium, the fractionators work on a percentage chance, okay? There is a chance that we'll have ebbs and flows. So I want a bit of a storage tank there as a buffer. So that way, if this goes through a particularly bad patch where it doesn't seem to get the right amount of materials out, it should be fine. It should be fine. It should work. All right. First thing we need to do is we need to get this hydrogen belt out. Because I want it to go in here. But I need to fill both these belts with hydrogen and a lot of hydrogen. So we're going to put in a splitter. Where? We're going to put in a splitter here, I think. Okay. Can you come out one more tile? Yes. Okay, we're going to plug that in there. We're going to plug you into there. We're going to have you prioritize the input from this lane, and then I want you to split that between the two builds and sideload up to there as well. Okay, because I need to sideload both these builds, i.e. what's on the build running through the looped belt gets first priority, and then we can sideload in extra, and then this belt, actually, can I just squeeze out just enough room to put a tank? Wait, yeah. You know what? I'm going to put in a tank. We shouldn't ever need the tank, but I'm going to put in the tank anyway, just on the off chance. Alright, so then we'll bring that up to there. We'll remove that. Remove you. We'll put our splitter back. Have you input, you output, you output. We want you to prioritize the input from there to make sure we get rid of the excess hydrogen first. We're going to put in the tank on the off chance. It's just on the off chance. It shouldn't ever, it should always go into deuterium, but just in case, Okay, the next thing I want to do is, this here is exactly not enough. It is exactly 18 machines, okay? What I want to do is I want to make sure that we try and get to the number that we require, okay? In theory, with proliferated, we're assuming we're proliferating the hydrogen. I'm a little bit on the fence about that one still, because although many people have told me that if you proliferate it, it says that you're getting 2% rather than 1%. I don't know if that's actually a 2% or whether that's just, you know, rounding. Because Dyson Sphere seems to have some issues with rounding. Like a lot of issues with rounding. So we'll see. But we might proliferate it, we might not. In theory, I'd like to have a build that you don't have to proliferate, which is my plan. So what we want to do is we want to take our hydrogen, we want to shove it here, we want to force it into here first. If there's no hydrogen on that belt, which there shouldn't be most of the time in theory, we're going to have a second booster set of hydrogen, which we're going to use the automatic pilers to go from 1 high to, once it goes through here or here, it's going to end up 2 high. After the 2 lots of 2 high are merged together, we should have a belt that is, be honest, it's going to be 2 high at all times, and it's going to be back to back, and then we're going to stack it again to make it 4 high, gap, 4 high, gap, 4 high, gap. And then we're going to shove it on these 2 belts and feed it through this build. Because it's now 4 times the height, potentially, or 1 height, it's going to be somewhere in between 1 and 4 times the height. It does mean that this proliferator build should get about the extra 50% production it needs to be able to supply our strange matter. That's sort of what I'm counting on, okay? So, we now know that we need to have hydrogen fed in here and in here with a sprayer. Oh, look, that's conveniently lined up on a line. It's almost like I planned all this out. Hydrogen and copy paste. hydrogen on there. And then that leaves the one most important critical item, which I can't remember about there, can I? No. Most critical item being our production furnaces. I need 4 of, 3 of, 4 of to make diamonds. Which will need an output belt, which needs to get proliferated. Oh look, there's a proliferator right there. Actually, let's have you under there, and then flow that way. Actually, let's go even further. Hang on. I'm making a last minute change to the plans. Okay, that belt just skims past there. So, no, that does not skim past there. That skims past there, right? You could spray and go that way. You could go there. How many do I have? 6. 3, 6. I need you to be sprayed, which means that goes not there. Can that go up a tile? No, that's in the way. Can all that shrink by a tile? Not really. Oh. Solved. Okay, we're going to bring the diamonds up to here. They're going to get sprayed there. They're going to go that way. You going to remove that belt, remove that belt. We're going to put a sprayer here. We're going to remove you guys. We're going to grab you. We're going to have you be... Input of diamonds, output, that is going to be graviton lenses. We're going to drag out 6 machines. We're going to remove that. I'm going to set you guys to be diamonds. We're going to go in, out, draggy, and we're going to put a sprayer here. And that belt will get marked as diamonds. Ooh, I shrunk the whole build by a little bit. No. That goes that way. That goes that way. And that goes that way. And that becomes our output belt for 1/2 of green science. So I'm pretty sure all I need to do is definitely put a sprayer there. Definitely mark you as kimberlite ore. Definitely turn on that overlay and add maybe just a power pole or 2, and then get a power connection back to the main grid. And I think we're good. We're good to actually test this. Okay, power connection done. Nothing is complaining at me, so I call that a win. The only thing we need to do is actually plug in the towers. Now, we have we have warpers 1. We have juice 2, iron 3, copper 4, fire ice 5, hydrogen 6, and kimberlite ore 7 items. So, what I think I want to do is, first off, I'm going to put the towers way further back than I need to, because that means that hopefully I can get a nice clean blueprint later, and the towers don't get in my way. So we're going to put you there, and we're going to put your friend over here. Actually, we might... Because I do need to pick up this whole blueprint later and move it. We might put you there, and I might put you a little bit in towards the middle. Sure. Because, yeah, I do need to pick up this whole blueprint, and potentially, like, gotta remember, this is only half. This is half what we need for purple science. I still need to make the whole quantum chip array. So we're going to start with you, which we're going to bring in warpers. Yep, and also juice. Plus we need kimberlite ore. Plus we need hydrogen. And then I just need 3 things for the other tower. Really, it's that easy. Wow, it's that easy. Okay. Shippies, power connection right about there. So we're gonna do kimberlite ore. Yeah. We're gonna do hydrogen. Now these 2 hydrogen belts are gonna be pretty flat out. No, it should be fine after it gets up to speed. Okay, we're also going to bring out juice, which we're going to bring to here. Then we're going to take up a tile, we're going to bring it to there. We're going to bring it through all the proliferators. And then we've got to remember we have this extra belt potentially put here to run the juice line on. And then we're going to take that and run it all the way through the whole build to down here. Okay. And we're going to remove the belt that we're sitting on. That was just a marker belt to make sure I left space. We're going to set you up for iron plus copper plus fire ice, which we obviously don't have on this planet. You've got juice, you've got things, you're ready to go. We're going to set you to 100%. So remote, because I don't have kimberlite ore here. Local. Okay, we'll wait for that to catch up. Meanwhile, so we're going to take our warpers, number 5, straight from that tower to that tower, because it'll save us a slot. Not that we're short on slots, but it'll save us a slot. We're going to go with fire ice, number 3, into there. Copper ore into there. Iron into there. We're going to set you up with shippies and shippies. We're going to set you to 100%. We're going to set local, storage. Do we have copper here? Yeah, we got plenty of copper and iron. And lastly is going to be local demand. Not that there's any here, but remote demand. Okay, so you're running. Believe you have fires. Yes. We're just going to manually throw some fire ice in there just to get the thing up and running. Because one of the things I do want to see is I want to see these guys run. So we're going to kick out hydrogen. We're going to go through that tank very, very quickly. And then just disappear, which is what I like to see. At the same time, we can see that these are generally stacked up with 4. Occasionally, we end up with a short one, being just a stack of 1, which is coming from this excess belt that we need to dispose of. These are at 2 high and running constantly. These are at 4 high and have gaps in them. They have been proliferated, which means, oh, power. Power, you say? Power, you say? Well, there's some up there without power. What are you running on? Just got to remember, this one is still running on crappy fuel. You are running on hydrogen, but we are not getting the belts moving fast enough. Let me generally help with faster belts. Faster belts. Well, you know what? All the faster belts. Okay. And at the same time, I believe I do have some of those in my inventory. Cool. Let's get rid of them. There, and there. Now we could always rip up this whole thing and upgrade it to our more fusion equivalent, but that seems to have recovered the power grid. On top of that, don't forget, I've just put in a couple of big builds that require big towers that require being charged, and then even whilst they're charging, we're sending ships out. So until we get a little bit of a stockpile up and running, it uses a little bit of extra power. Okay, so going through our list, we have gears are not being proliferated. This is why we turn it on together. We can check for some mistakes. Okay, so that should proliferate the iron belt. Yeah, we can see that iron is being proliferated slowly. Also, power is not quite fixed. Really? We have no power on this planet at all. Seems like a 4. We have 10,000 stone left. I really wish I could mine this out faster. I could. We might do that. Alright. Off camera, that is. Okay, so you're being proliferated. You are now being proliferated because you have all the items being proliferated. 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 You are waiting on you guys, which was short because we're short on iron. Well, short of gears, which is taking a second to catch up. Is that right? 2.8. 2.98 machines, which is 3. Yeah, that's 3. It is the right ratio. It's just because it wasn't getting the proliferation juice, it was slow and behind. Okay. So you're catching up slowly. Yeah, they're all running now. Perfect. Alright, then we come on a strange matter that does not have iron that's proliferated because we forgot to actually pre-proliferate the belt, which has a giant belt buffer that we're just going to pick it all up and shove it on the... There we go. Shove it on the ground and then make it go away. There we go. Now being proliferated for 20% extra products. Brilliant. Which is going to come out here, be proliferated, and get us our graviton lenses, which are going to pop out over here and sit on a belt. I think we can call that a done deal. I think, yeah, diamonds are working. In fact, they're backed up because they're waiting on everything else. It's probably these guys that are using several megawatts each. Yeah. And gotta remember, even with the proliferation juice, it's only 1.5%. I had many people in the comments tell me, if you proliferate it, it's 2%. Yeah, I don't believe it. In fact, it's 98.5%. So that's more than 20%. It's a bit of a bonus. It's a lot of a bonus considering. But it's definitely not getting us up to 2%. But it is getting us 1.5%, which is what we require to keep this part of the build going. So with all that said and done, I think that's where we call this video. We have half a green cube. Let's start. We're halfway there. It's half a green cube. It does mean next episode we need to crank our way through quantum chips, which is processes. We've done processes before. That's not too hard. It is plane filters. Plane filters do require, you know, some cashmere crystals and some titanium glass. Titanium glass, not too hard. It's pretty easy. Cashmere crystals require, you know, titanium crystals, more of that graphene, and a crap ton of hydrogen, which is somewhat good and somewhat bad. Oh, that would help. Because, yeah, hydrogen. A lot of hydrogen. I have no idea where I'm actually getting all this hydrogen from. You should be local demand as well. And every warper that just showed up disappeared. Oh, that's why. We were shipping warpers into there to fly them down to there to then ship them off planet. Okay, let's not do that. Alright, but yes, that is today's episode. That is today's build. I will see you guys in the next episode, where in theory, we crank out the other half of green science, which should mean that when we're done, we have all the different builds as blueprints in both a early game, so from raw resources, also for a mid-game point, where you have rare resources you can throw down instead. But I'm going to call it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the very next episode. All right, bye.